So Gary, so you were this is Gary Curry, friend of mine here, and we're at the Homeless Services Center. And so Gary, you were telling me some things that we could do, which I was interested in posting on my Facebook and also on YouTube to help the homeless. Some of the things that we need. Could you just let me know those again? Because as soon as you were saying that, I was like, wait, I gotta videotape that.
Well, I believe that ultimately the city is trying to diminish the homeless population, and I feel that that's going to cause a lot of problems, and it's going to cause a lot of people to, I don't know, decide to make bad decisions. And I feel that maybe if they provide like hygiene for people, or I like the fact that they're actually expanding the Page Smith house over there. That's a good idea. But I think that we may need a possible another homeless shelter, because just based off how many homeless people are in the city, this shelter isn't able to help every single homeless person. And there's a lot of people who have special needs, and a lot of people who have other issues that just one shelter can't deal with. Another thing is just people who are on the streets waiting to get into the shelter need food, need clothing, sleeping bags. They need mental health. There's a lot of people who need to be forced into mental health because they don't have the ability to take care of themselves. So I mean, there's just a lot of things that are actually a problem. They're blaming it on the homeless people when really a lot of the homeless people are a victim of circumstance, not based off their own actions. Sometimes it's just they lost everything, and so they're putting everybody in the same category, and I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Everybody has their own different reasons, and a lot of times they'll pick the most traumatized, troubled person, like the guy from San Francisco that was just coming through that stabbed the lady to death, and they'll blame all of the homeless on that situation.
The police took protective serve off their cars, and if anybody knows anything about words can be used as an affirmation, right? And if you write things down, it can be brought to life. Now, when they had protective serve on the cars, I feel like the city was a lot safer. They took off protective serve and put your police, our community. Now, that doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be my police. I want it to be my community. The city has hired a private security, which is the police officers, to do a service for the citizens. And I feel almost as if the police are involved in creating making it so that homeless people aren't citizens but transients, so that they're not allowed to become a citizen. And I feel like that's almost like discriminating against homeless people or people who are unfortunate. It's not fair.
Okay, and I totally agree with that, discriminating against homeless people, because I do feel like
I like to use the word unfortunate, because homeless people can be, now people use that, there's so many houseless videos and homeless videos. The unfortunate is because that's what it is. This is an unfortunate situation. If you just take a video of what it looks like real quick.
Okay, I'm panning across here. So we're going over here now. This blue house, if you can see in the distance, that's the Page Smith house now?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Gary?
a nice place. That's the Page Smith over there. That's the place they're gonna remodel and expand this summer.
And then over here is the River Street Shelter.
The River Street Shelter.
The green
people
building.
Treat you very nice over there. It's very, very clean, and it's very put together. This place right here, this area over here with the loft.
Panning over here, Polly Loft, friend of ours.
It's very rough for people to stay at. It's very rough for people because a lot of people coming off the streets, detoxing, or doing whatever it is they're doing. It's very difficult for people to get their lives together at this shelter. And
it's like being in a sort of a sober living environment with not a lot of support.
Exactly. A sober living environment, and a lot of people don't acknowledge the fact that people have medicine that they take. Like some people take heroin-based medicines, and some people take methadone, and some people take marijuana. Now, I feel like methadone and heroin-based medicines are way worse off for your body than marijuana. And they want to keep people off of smoking weed, but I have a car, so they can't do that. But it's just that's all a bunch of, either misunderstandings or, it's a lot of controversy.
But definitely you're feeling the effects of being marginalized as one of the homeless community, the younger homeless community.
Well, I've noticed that the government can't support themselves if every single person has a job. So the government will lose control and lose power if everyone has the ability to make money. Therefore, they have to make a certain percentage of people homeless. for the economy to even work. Because if everyone has money, then we have inflation, which is the lost value of money. And when that happens, then that means the dollar isn't worth what it's supposed to be worth, which it isn't worth what it's supposed to be worth in the first place because there's no gold backing it. It's a completely different conversation, but they're taking it out on the people who have nothing when we don't owe anybody anything. The only thing we want is a place to stay and a regular life, just like everyone else. And there's a lot of cities that provide housing for people and like allow people to have a place to stay for 30 days, allow them to get a job and actually help them. This shelter doesn't really set up programs for job search, or they just send people away. When they should really have counseling services here. They should have meetings with people, one-on-one attention. There's a lot of things they should be doing to help develop people into getting out into the real world instead of just making it comfortable for them to be homeless.
Well, there is one area that they really focus on, so I'm gonna like pan over. Behind Gary is the cafeteria. That's where we do the Bible discussion, and also everybody eats twice a day, 5 days a week, but there's no real food distribution on weekends. So you were also saying that like bag lunches would be an advantage to people to get them through the weekend mainly, or okay.
Well, this place is definitely a setup to help people get through whatever they're going through. It's not really set up to help them get out of what they're going through. And some people, there's only a percentage of people who come to this shelter and end up with a job and get a place to stay and then live happily ever after. Most people end up back on the streets because they don't give them enough time. And they end up getting back on drugs or getting back on alcohol because it's easier to get alcohol or easier to get drugs than it is to get a job. And a lot of times people feel discouraged to the point to where they feel like they're shut out of the whole society altogether. Like, there's no way I can get a job now. There's no way I can get a place to stay. I might as well just be used to being on the streets and just accept it. And that's a really bad thing to have to force people to accept, because then that's when you get people stabbing people and you get more violence.
No hope.
Right.
No hope. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna pan over and show the area that does get a lot of attention here. Obviously it's the women and children's section that seems, and so this is like, that's the major part that you see in all the photos and that, and it's sort of divided into two sides, and that would be women and children. I don't think males stay there, do they?
Yeah, there's males that stay there.
Are there?
Yeah, there's men and women that stay there.
Oh, okay. I thought it was...
I believe so. I mean, I believe that, yeah, because I've seen a man walking his child every morning.
Oh, okay, okay.
So there's families. It's a family shelter.
Okay, family shelter, okay. I remember when they were first starting up, I think it was focused on women and children. Okay, so family shelter. And so this whole lot is divided up into different sections, and again, this is Gary Curry.
I believe that people may have cut the funding here because they made they put a label on this place, and the label was that everyone here is a drug addict or an alcoholic or a wife beater or something negative, so that they wouldn't have to fund this place anymore or give it as much funding.
Yeah,
that's not true. A lot of the people are actually crying out for help, which is why they even come to the shelter.
Yeah.
If they were trying to stay the way they are, they wouldn't come to the shelter. They would stay on the streets and continue to steal or do whatever it is they do.
Well, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that if the churches were doing what the churches should do and interacting with the poor and the orphans and widows and being God to people on the street, we wouldn't have to rely on this government, which we dream of it being a community, but it really isn't a community here. It's not really a community.
Our government is really based off power and control. That's what the money is about. Money is just a piece of paper that just represents something. The thing is that if you have too many people working, like I said, then the government loses control over the mass. And when you lose control over the mass, then you have no control ultimately. The society has control and there's no use for a government. They're trying to eliminate that possibility, which is why there's different branches of the government and all these different stages you got to go through before you can even get to the top. And the top isn't even visible.
Yeah.
So the problem is that we can't talk directly to the person who's really controlling this situation, because it goes up so far and then it just disappears.
Yeah.
And they just want homeless people to disappear, and it's not going to happen. There's people who have mental problems or people who are malicious and treat other people like crap and put them in the position like identity theft can ruin someone's life, you know.
Yeah.
Someone could get robbed. Some families have car accidents. You know, the tragedies happen. You know, some people just were grew up without parents.
Yeah.
You know, things
I
that
know.
happen for people.
I know.
And they blame it on the person, on the individual. When
Yeah.
a lot of times they don't have enough programs or enough help.
Yeah.
It's just not enough help.
Yeah, just like walking a mile in the other person's shoes. You just don't know where they came from, and some people manage their history better than others.
I mean, you can just look at Oakland. Oakland has had a history of violence and has a history of negative things. When the city isn't based off that, you know, but during all this violence and all these Occupy movements and all this stuff, they don't want to put in new schools. They want to take out the schools and put in a stadium.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Those are the kind of things they talk about. We don't have the budget for that. Well, yeah. The reason why you guys don't have the budget for the positive stuff to help for development of people is because you're spending the money on things like on things like refurbishing the boardwalk, or you know, private more security downtown. You know, instead of actually spending the money positively and actually providing more help for people to get people off the streets, get people to think differently. You know.
I'm about to get run over here.
Yeah, I can understand.
Gary, so basically I wanted to do this little video recording I'm moving over here so I don't get run over. Just because you were saying some things that I thought I wanted, people hear it from me a lot, but I wanted them to hear it from you, and just to give you a voice, because I know that's like a big thing too, is like you said, people don't hear us down here. And so I'm going to send this to my friend Tara, who does all the editing and polishing for me, and hopefully YouTube it. Thank you, Gary.
No problem.
God bless you.
Have a good day.